I'm Caleb Brooks with the AHSAA Radio Network. I'm at St. James here in Montgomery, Alabama. I'm joined by head football coach, Coach Jimmy Perry. And Coach, for you guys, you're sitting here at 8-1, and you took over this place back in 2012 and, have kind of gradually gotten better, I think, every single year. Leading up to last year, you go 10-2, get knocked out in the second round. And this year, you hadn't really missed a beat, and you're sitting here at 8-1, and this is where you want to be at this point in the year.
Yeah, this has been a nice little process here, and this graduating class is the winningest class to ever come through St. James football. They won more games than any other team has in that 4-year period. Those seniors, but 3 years ago, that group of seniors was the winningest. Last year, that group was the winningest. This year, this group is the winningest. So we've been able to accomplish a little bit more every year, and just build the program. I'm very, very proud of that.
You started your head coaching career at Lee Montgomery here, then made the move down to St. Paul's and Mobile. And, I feel like going down there, being at St. Paul's, a school that's kind of similar to this, a private school in Mobile, that had to kind of help prepare you for then what you came here and did, being at a school that, rules I'm sure are similar, and really everything's kind of the same with kids going to school from kindergarten up.
Yeah, St. Paul's is a very unique situation. Them and UMS, being big rivals right there, just half mile down the street from each other. And football's real important down there. And was able to coach a lot of great players down there, like Jake Coker, who went to Alabama, and Trey Williams, who went to Auburn. So we had some great players there. It was a lot of fun. Great little coaching staff down there, And so that was fun. And then I became a grandfather, and my wife wanted us to get close to the grandbabies, so I had to leave. And so we came up here, and this has been a joy to coach here. The kids are great. As a matter of fact, this has been my most enjoyable year ever. Out of 41 seasons, this has been my most enjoyable one. And it's due to the kids that we coach. They're great kids. They're fun to coach. They listen. They want to please. And very, very rewarding.
When you got your career started at Lee Montgomery and being there, did it, kind of help with you making the transition from Mobile back here to Montgomery, having already kind of been, here before and been in this area, even though it was a little bit different?
Yeah, well, I've lived in Montgomery my whole life.
Yeah.
And so, I grew up here and went to Lee. I played at Lee. I was the worst football player in the history of the school by far. And then I was able to, I went to Auburn and then came back and started my coaching career, to tell you the truth, at Trinity. And the team we're going to play this week. And I was there for a couple of years, and then a job opening came at Lee, so I got to go home, so to speak, and be an assistant at Lee. And then when Coach McCracken left, I got the job. And then in 2000, Coach Tuberville hired me at Auburn, and I was able to work up there with him for 9 years. And then I had enough years in to retire, so I retired and took St. Paul's job. And then, of course, and then 3 years later, I'm here for the last 8. So it's been a great little career.
What was the difference in coaching high school ball, and then when you did make that move and was with Coach Tuberville for those years and coaching, the college level?
Well, in the college level, all day long your focus is nothing but football, whether it's in the film room or in meetings or whatever. In high school, you got a lot of other things to do. You got to teach classes, you got to do this, and so the meeting time that you have with the kids in college is exponentially greater. In high school, you don't have that much time to meet because you got to go out and practice. Then you got to get them home so they can go study, because this is a real academic school. So that's been a little of an adjustment. You really coach on the run a lot in high school.
Oh yeah.
But the kids, they're great to work with, and it's been a lot of fun.
With you being, from Montgomery in this area, this road right here and the private schools that are on it. To me, y'all, Catholic right down the road, Montgomery Academy, Trinity, football's picked up, I think, the last few years around all these schools. What do you think it is that's kind of helped football get better and improve?
Well, I think the quality of coaching that you see, you look at the coaches we have in Montgomery, and they're all excellent coaches, and they do a good job. And and football's still relevant in Montgomery and still important. And the kids need that toughness, that football brings. Football's one of the last few sports that we haven't made easier. I think football and wrestling is the only two full contacts we got left, and So I think it really contributes itself to the quality of coaches that we have in Montgomery. Very, very blessed to have great coaches at Trinity and Catholic and Alabama Christian and and all these schools. They really do a good job.
What are some of the differences in being at a public school, like when you were at Lee, compared to being at a St. Paul's and being at a St. James and a Trinity?
Well, when we were at Lee, we had over 100 on the squad, and and for a lot of those kids, the best part of their day was athletics, because maybe their home life or whatever wasn't great, but they really enjoyed football. And when you're at a private school, most of the kids there are from successful or affluent families, and you really got to make football important to them, make it fun for them, because all those guys, they're all going to go to college somewhere, whether it's for athletics or academics. But a lot of times in public school, the only way they're going to get to college is through athletics. And so I just think that it's just a little bit different animal.
Yeah.
But it all boils down to they're all good kids. They all want to please their coaches. They all want to play for their families and themselves. And what a great vehicle football is to make a good, strong young man.
So, when you saw Lee make the run that they did a year ago, 40 players on the team to go play and almost make a 7A state championship, that had to make you kind of proud being an alumni of that school and seeing what they were able to accomplish.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they've done a great job. It was Tyrone Rogers over there. Tyrone played for me and Coach McCracken at Lee. And then Coach Hudson's come in there and done a great job. Matter of fact, we still play them every summer in 7-on-7 and some OTAs here at the school during some workouts, because we like to keep that relationship with Lee. We play JV football against Jeff Davis. If we're going to play in the public school league, we need to compete against public school players and not just private schools all the time. So, it's been a great relationship. We kind of keep open the paper up on Saturday morning. I kind of see how them generals did, because I went to school there and I coached there, and everywhere I've been, even at St. Paul's and here and at Auburn, I always got to check on those generals.
Yes, sir. So, for you, being in this a long time now and being at different levels, how have you kind of seen this game change, and how have you kind of had to adjust, from maybe when you were the head coach at Lee to now, what your philosophy is being here at St. James?
Well, the way the game's changed, I think, it's gotten more wide open, a lot more passing. I think the coaching has really gotten better. I mean, you look at Terry Curtis down there at UMS Wright and Steve Mask, who's at St. Paul's now, who was my defensive coordinator. I mean, they're all excellent coaches. I mean, just the whole around the state. Buddy Anderson and that crew up in Birmingham, they do an excellent job. But we have a lot of coaches in the state that do an excellent job. But they've had to adapt. We've had to make football a little bit more attractive. They don't have to play football anymore. They can play basketball. They can do other things. So we've had to make football more attractive. And so you kind of got to get a little bit more wide open offense. Got to blitz a little bit more on defense. And but it's still a toughness game. The toughest team's going to win. You can do all the smoke and mirrors and all the reverses and all that stuff, but when the ball gets down to the red zone, somebody's got to knock somebody off the ball, and somebody's got to keep somebody out of the end zone. So the toughness factor still is very relevant, but that aspect of it, the wide openness of the offensive things, the RPOs and all that stuff, everything's a trickle down from NFL to college to pro. And matter of fact, it's kind of a trickle up. Everything in college, a lot of the RPO stuff is starting running in the NFL now. So, you got to be able to track. We're all in competition for kids as far as getting them to come out to play. With the evolution of the esports and stuff like that. I mean, we could. It's hard to get the kids to come out and do things that are still hard to do. And so, I think the coaches in this state, I think participation is up at an all-time high again. And, that's due to the leadership of the Alabama High School Athletic Association and things they've done and with their coaches and their players. But, we're all in competition to get those guys out to play, whether it's football, basketball, baseball, track, whatever. And, it used to be you wasn't in competition. They were going to play anyway. Now, They may not play, so you better have your program set up. You better be doing things for them in your program that makes your program attractive to the kids walking the halls to get them to come out and play.
I mean, basically now you got to recruit your own school, to get kids.
You better.
Yeah. So, when you say it's more wide open, to me, when I go back and watch games from the 70s, 80s, things like that, one of the things I notice is I just feel like coaches are more willing to take chances. Like you bring up blitzing more and taking more deep shots. Do you kind of just think that that's part of it too, is that coaches now are just a little bit more willing to do that?
Well, they are, because, the coaching's getting better on the other side of the ball. So if you just do the same thing over and over and over again, the defenses eventually catch up to the offense, and then the offense has to evolve, and then the defense evolves to stop them. And so, that's kind of how I've seen it going. If all you do is run the ball, they're going to put 11 in the box. And, if you don't throw, they're not going to defend the throw. The old saying, we're going to cover the receivers and let the decoys go. They'll get enough people in the box to stop you. And so you've had to evolve a little bit to make things go. And then you got to be able to coach to your personnel. I mean, if you don't have any big offensive linemen, you better be running a scheme up front that little guys can have a chance, and have leverage over the bigger guys. And so you got to run a lot of misdirection, a lot of gap schemes, things like that. If you're a big old strong team, you can run zone schemes and knock them off the ball type man schemes. But you better be able to adapt to your personnel, just like you got to recruit your own school. You better be able to adapt to the personnel you got, and then try to make it fit in your narrative that you're trying to run on offense.
This team this year, following up a team last year 10-2, like you said, the winningest senior class until this senior class. To me, what's impressive is when you get a group like this senior class where you did have success a year ago, and then they're able to keep it going. They're not just sitting on the success that they had. How impressive has that been to you to see them, just be able to continue to have the success going? Well,
the caveat that we put in front of them is, hey, you got a chance to make history. You first, before you can be the toughest guy in your neighborhood, you better be the toughest guy on your block. And before you be the toughest guy on your block, you better be the toughest guy on your street. So, before we can win a state championship, let's focus on being the best that St. James has ever had, and then we'll worry about, okay, once we've done that, then we'll worry about being a region champion. And then after that, you worry about being a state champion. So, you just kind of take it in small chunks and just hold that caveat, hey, you can be this. And nobody will ever be able to take it away from you. Just give them a lot of little small goals and let them reach them, instead of putting a couple up there that are so unattainable that they feel like a failure if they didn't reach them.
So now kind of going into what you said about, being the toughest on your street and toughest on your block, does this game against Trinity kind of come into play on that, and, a prideful getting a win against a team that's right up the road from you
Well,
guys?
It does and it doesn't. If we were in the same region as Trinity, or the same classification, it would probably carry a little bit more weight. But, they're just an in-town rival, and, they're our biggest rival, of course. But, and we want to win that game, but it really has no bearing on the state championship. And, them being 4A, us being 3A. We were in the region before with them, and the game carried a little bit more playoff implication weight. But this year it's just a bragging right type deal, because they all go to church together. They all, go out to eat together and stuff like that. So it's just a chance for you to stick your chest out and, not have to hide at the zipping mark when the other guy walks in,
What would you like to see from this team in this game? It's not important, like you said, in a region standpoint and all that, but it is a game right here before the playoffs, and it is, a game that you guys probably want to kind of keep the momentum that you have.
This game is probably one of our three biggest games of the year as far as from a physicality standpoint. I want to see our kids play physical. I want to see us get after it, and I just want to see us play to the best we can play. And that's all that matters, because all we can control is us. We can't control how Trinity plays, how Trinity reacts to anything that we do. So all we can control is what we do and play at a very, very high level. And if we do that, you know what? If we're better than they are, we'll win. If we're not and we play as good as we can, we'll shake the hand and get ready to play Oakman next week.
Yes, sir. Well, Coach, thanks for taking time to sit down with me. Enjoyed it. And,
been a pleasure.
This is my first time visiting this school. It's a nice place. And, all the schools on this road are so gorgeous. And I wish you guys nothing but luck. It's the best time of year. This is what you work all year for. It's postseason. So
this is it. Thank you.
Good luck, Coach, and looking forward to seeing how it goes.
Appreciate it. Thank you.